Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. And I took some break. I will make a separate video, as I promised on my Facebook, about my visit and traveling to Israel and visit many places of righteous people. I made some images and some explanations, so this video should be done by Sunday, so definitely look for it. Today I want to create video. There's so much information already been putting out there about a new Saturn transition in Aquarius. I want us to discuss a couple of things about Aquarius and as well about Saturn, which is the information come mainly from ancients and the Sefer Yezirah, book of formation, book of creation. As always, I want to remember I only practice sidereal system, which is direct sky, with knowledge of Babylonian system and definitely with Kabbalistic knowledge as well. So my explanation will come from few school of thoughts, and I hope you guys will learn something new today from this video, and it can open a little bit bigger picture of what's really happening with humanity, especially when Saturn moved to such a very, very important sign as Aquarius. First, I want us to really deep in about Aquarius, really the energy of Aquarius, because each of us, we do have inside of our chart Aquarius. And if you do know your chart, it's awesome. If you never did your natal astrological chart, I do recommend for you to find a good astrologer who you can trust, and because it's extremely important to know the essence, DNA of your soul, why your soul choose a certain path and certain family, certain country. And when you can check in your chart, again, from the sidereal system, not Western astrology, you need to check what do you have inside of the house of Aquarius, what kind of planet. Perhaps you have important planet, perhaps you have sun, moon, or your rising, or you have Venus, and perhaps you even have Saturn inside of Aquarius. Then this transit is going to be extremely, extremely important for you. And again, I will make a separate video where I can explain not just for 12 signs, as well if you do have Saturn return, so it's mean you do have Saturn in your natal chart, or perhaps you have Mars in Aquarius where it's going to meet with Saturn. It's extremely important. Or if you have Moon and it's going to meet with Saturn, this transit, it's extremely important as well. But for any of us, this transit is going to change our lives. And not just change our lives, it's going to change our professional lives, it's going to change us who we are in front of creation and what we can offer to the creation. Can we be users, or we can actually be creators, or we can continue to be users? Extremely important. Now, what is really Aquarius? Aquarius is really one of the most mental sign of different level of thoughts, of understanding of the creation. It comes with many new ideas. Don't forget, Aquarius, beside the Saturn, he has another two planets. He has he has a Rahu, which is he has a south node. It's not really planet; it's the energetical force which just comes with the moon, and it's represent our tikkun process of correction, our karma, what we came to work in. Because there's a reason why south node was chosen to be represented as well by sign Aquarius. Then we have Uranus as well. It represent Aquarius, it comes with Aquarius, and then we have, of course, we have a Saturn, right? So Aquarius has a lot going on there. And yes, it is a very, very mental sign. It's this progressive, it's a very open-minded, innovative sign. It's the sign who receives so much information, so much from the future. I always call true Aquarius is the people of the future, the people who came, souls who came from the future, to bring us so many ideas and to show us how we can live, what is really this whole process about. And this is why many times for through Aquarius, it's not easy to be and live in our dimension, because they already know, they understand how we're supposed to live, what is the final redemption, what is the society. It's like almost like they have antenna between this dimension and in upper level. And Aquarius is the sign of science, of new ideas, and sometimes sounds like they are from place of fantasy, but it's not true. Many times they bring us ideas and information which is eventually it's coming, and because sometimes they actually before they come in really in advance from the future, many times the society and people not really ready to hear what true Aquarius can offer us and give us so many different information and ideas. And what is and they have such an open mind. They not just open mind when they communicate with people, and when no matter what they touch, they always come in with additional idea how it can be done better, how we can be more innovative, because it is very innovative sign. And it is much more than just accepting, views and ideas of others. It is beyond logic. It is collective consciousness. They really know what is the collective consciousness. Because if you look at the sign of Aquarius and you can see the image, it's really important for us always to look at the image of each sign, because behind the image, there's a lot of information. And what do we have in the image of Aquarius? We have a barrel, right? And we have a water which is coming from the barrel. And in whole zodiac system, in our solar system, we have only a few places in the zodiac science, which is they really consider, very high consciousness, very holy place. And one of the most important degrees we have in Aquarius, it's actually in the sign of Aquarius, it's called River of Life. So the place where the water coming from the barrel, it's one of the most important spiritual, high elevated soul come. If you do have in your chart, it usually comes from 19 degrees to 25 degrees. But again, it's really, really important through the direct sky system. And usually those people, they, from very early age, if they live in family whose family not progressive, they want to live from very early age. They decide, what, I really want to see the world. I want to understand more, and I know I can offer much more than where I'm right now. Eventually, they always coming back to their roots, but they need time from early age to leave their home, to go out to the world, to give their own energy, to collect all the information they see around, and again to bring where they came from. Not necessarily to stay, but they always care as well. They maybe not showing, but most of the time they really care of where they came from and what is the foundation. And another thing very important for us to understand, Saturn represents two signs. It represents Capricorn and it represents Aquarius, which completely polarity, if you will think, right? Because, Saturn, it's all about structure. It's a very, very driven, motivated sign to, on a more practical level. And it represents really different force of energy. Plus, it represents earth sign. Aquarius, it represents air, but is the highest of all air signs. Really, it's 11th house. It's considered house of happiness. It's really called, in a nutshell, happy house. So Aquarius, they do have a key to true happiness, and true happiness, it's come from when the collective consciousness elevating the consciousness. And this is when Aquarius feel really fulfilled. Really, Aquarius, they don't need, their achievement do not attach to financial or how big the house. Their success, really what they're looking for, how can we improve society? What can we develop? What can we create in order for society to become better? How can we make this world better? I always, guys, I think we need to really cherish when we have through Aquarius in our families and our friends. I really, really recommend for all of us to go deep inside and really to understand where they're coming from. And if you are Aquarius and you really, really resonate with the energy I'm describing, I really applaud you. I think we all this transition of Saturn will give us tremendous opportunity to understand in more depth what is the Aquarius, why it's called Age of Aquarius, and why Age of Aquarius attached to final redemption. We call Mashiach, and many of you know this word as a Messiah. So this transition is going to be very special. Plus, it's going to aspect by Rahu, by North Node. It's really unusual because they remember the North Nodes we have right now, Rahu we have in Aries, and then South Node we have in Libra, which is both represent in a nutshell this relationship. And Aquarius, they really came to learn mainly what is really one-on-one relationship, because there's so much about big picture, there's so much about community and friends. Many times they neglected the one-on-one relationship, which is it will require from all of us. It's really, really important. And it's very interesting. I will, when I look at the Rahu and when I look at Saturn, which is both represent a home of Aquarius and both influence this energetical force of Aquarius, I would call Saturn socialist, communist, and I will call Rahu typical capitalist. And what I mean by that, let me explain to you what is really communism and socialism. And again, because I came from country and I born in Ukraine and I grew up in Israel and I went through, in Canada, I live already for close to 30 years. I know what is the illusion of the socialism. But if we study Kabbalah, and especially one of the righteous tzaddikim, Rav Ashlag, the tzaddik who actually did interpretation of the book of Zohar, the holy book of Zohar, called Balei Sulam, he explained in one of his books, Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, he explained really what is the socialism. So we have no idea what really the essence of socialism is, when everyone cares for another. When before you're going to care how much you have, you want to make sure the other one will have as well. Because people, and this is what really, really call final redemption. When we, with collective consciousness, we came to the place where we understand, pulling cover on myself, I'm uncovering somebody. No, I'm actually uncovering myself. So care for another person. To anything we do, we always need to think how it's going to affect, society, collective consciousness. What product do I use? What food do I eat? What source it's coming from? How is in the bigger picture is going to affect the humanity? This is the collective consciousness eventually we need to come to. And no matter how many war and disputes we can have between each other, we have no other choice. We came from light. We represent light of creator in this dimension. We have to come back home, who we really are. So in this playground, this illusionary reality, which is in Hebrew we call Ulam HaSheker, the world of lie, we need to go through such a process, almost like we're dying and reborn again. We're dying and reborn again, every time growing higher and higher, elevating ourselves and earning, really understanding what is to be creator. This is why creator gave us opportunity. He created the whole dimension here, the mother earth for us, all this playground, gave us all the tools and just give us kids. There you go, you have everything. You want to be like me? You don't want to have a bread of shame? You don't want to get free stuff? There you go, now earn your place. So what we need to understand, no matter how elevated you are or how understanding you have about creation, if your family and other people still have really far away understanding what is really to be sharing, what is really to be caring, make no mistakes, you will be affected by it. Therefore, it's in our own interest, in our global interest, for all of us even to help each other and to come to each other with a lot of nourishment and understanding You know, everyone has his own process and his own time, but eventually we all have to come back to light where we came from. And why I mention Rahu and Saturn right now in this place, because Rahu, what is really Rahu? Rahu, it's all about give me, give me, give me. I want to expand, I want to have, I want everything. To have a desire, it's extremely important. We need to remember one of the essence of Kabbalistic knowledge, when a person have a desire, no matter what he does, the desire is the essence. You need to have a vessel in order to receive. What you're going to receive, it's a different story. This is why the vessel need to go through the process and change the quality in order to be prepared to receive the light of the Creator, to replace with the darkness, which is darkness extremely important as well. Without darkness, we cannot earn the light. If you look at the sky, if you look at the, you know, all stars in the sky, the only way you can see the stars from the essence of the darkness, right? From the foundation, the base of the darkness. So we cannot neglect, we need to know how to work with both the energies and eventually to convert everything in the light, because with the darkness, we cannot bring the light. We need to bring light where it is dark in order to create peace in everything what we touch. So this is why Aquarius represents so many different polarities and opposite energy of the desire. In order, you know, when the barrel, the water coming from the barrel will represent vessel. So ancients explain the barrel of Aquarius. It's extremely important hint for us to understand what vessel do I have, what kind of water I'm pouring to the creation. I am pouring the clean water with right consciousness, or I'm just pouring whatever I have and whatever it's happened after me, it doesn't matter. No, this is not going to happen. If you will come back, if you live long enough and you remember period of time of your 1992, 93, I would say end of 92, 93, 94, 95, this is what the period when Saturn was in Aquarius. So remember, we have a lot of new new ideas came. We have internet. We have Yahoo came in 94. We have Amazon came in 94. We have so many new developments actually happened there, because and you know, Uranus helping here as well, right? Because Uranus is the one of the most progressive outer planets. And again, because it's such a quick planet, this is why for Aquarius on the mental, they always need to be careful and take care of themselves, what kind of thought and information they bring inside of themselves. Because remember, I always mention this to all of us, our mind is not garbage collector. Our mind is one of the most important things we have here in our physical body. We have to be very careful what information we allow it not just come inside to stay and create these seeds and to grow. We need to learn to be in charge of our thoughts, because our thoughts is not really who we are. Now, come back to Aquarius. Each of us need to look at the chart and see. I'm making the separate video for 12 signs again to remind you. I made a few videos about it, but now I made completely final to give you more information, because the Saturn soon, in few weeks, he's gonna make a new movement. You know, he's gonna do retrograde. He's gonna retrograde in Aquarius. Now he's kind of just move in slowly, and then he's gonna start to move. He's staying right now, and he's just preparing himself to jump and start to really to bring this energy to humanity. And what is the Saturn? You know, Saturn, it's a very, very important planet. I consider Saturn one of the most important planets we have, even more important than lunar nodes, which is represent our karmic process, because Saturn in our chart is helping us to understand what is really our work. Saturn directly connect to the mission. He actually indirect even communicate with our MC, our midheaven in our chart, because our midheaven, it's about mission, what really we came to accomplish this world. Without communicate with Saturn, without understand the Saturn lessons, we cannot achieve and do what we really came to do in this dimension. And Saturn, Saturn represents Shabbat, Saturday. you can imagine how Creator gave to this such an important planet the most important day of the week, the holy day when Creator decide to rest and give us opportunity to elevate our consciousness and work on our, not just our consciousness, really to elevate our soul, which is, yes, connect to our consciousness. And it's created by letter Bet. And letter Bet, it's one of the most important letters we have in Hebrew alphabet. The Torah, the Holy Torah, I don't even call Torah book. It's really ancients and Kabbalists call it's a live organism. And Torah first letter was created with letter Bet, which is the same letter was created, Saturn created by same letter than first letter in Bet, right? And it's really, really important for us to remember it's represent number 6 and color dark blue. And the tools, which is directly connect to Saturn, it's the tefillin. Now, what is tefillin? If some of you don't know, if you ever notice the Jewish men, they put on their forehead, they put, it's like a square, they put on their forehead and as well on their left hand, and it's it's surrounded by leather, around the hand and as well head. This is actually the square. A lot of people know, but this square is actually Saturn. While the men communicate and they pray, they actually connect with the Saturn. Now, I'm going to give you a hint here how to make Saturn work for you. Saturn loves when we're consistent and when we do things on time, and especially when we're using our prayers. Saturn directly connect to prayers. And what really, really important about the prayers as well, if you pray, no matter what language you use, no matter what religious you came from, it's actually a good idea to be consistent and do, for example, your morning prayer on same time. Why on same time? There's a couple secrets our righteous tzaddikim explained to us. One of them is Ben Ish Chai. It's one of the tzaddikim, absolutely one of my favorite. He used to live in 18th century in Iraq, in one of the greatest tzaddikim. And he explained when we consistent with our prayers, and we usually pray on same time because every hour has a different set of angels. Every time when we pray in certain time and we really, we follow the structure, the same angels who waiting for us, they can give us more information, divine inspiration, more support. But if, for example, one day you pray at 7, another day you pray at 10, you're not going to have the same results, because it's really, this is all part of the discipline. Again, Saturn does not want us to be, even though he represents restriction, he represents limitation, but through the limitation, the real freedom comes. Because real freedom do not come from chaos and when you do whatever you want. When you follow the rules of creation, when you work with all the nature we have around, with mineral kingdom, animal kingdom, vegetarian kingdom, when you all work in harmony, and what it's mean you using your discipline, you using structure, you're going according to the law. This is when real freedom comes. This is where we need to understand what is really Saturn. Saturn represents our best interest. And until age 38, in some charts 42, Saturn can really give a lot of heavy lessons, especially first Saturn return when we become an age 28, because Saturn, he's changed his sign, come back to each sign every 28 years. So he's staying in each sign around 2.5 years. It takes approximately 28.5 years to finish his 12 sign cycle. So every time when I look at the chart, and if, for example, somebody who's just coming to age 28, it's one of the most important moments of the life when we need to prepare for the new reality, new adventure, new lessons. And again, it really depends where Saturn, in what house, what sign he's sitting at. There's a lot of information, but extremely important. And after 28, I'm getting to 42, between 38 to 42. Why? Because we calculate not 28 years, we calculate 12. We're going to be given in a position of Saturn. It's another really important. In 42, finally, Saturn start, if you really learn your lessons, if you've been following the rule of creation, if you elevate in your consciousness, if you go in with the spirituality, Saturn, when he's coming back, and you look at the transformation and you look at the lesson, how you took them, he starts to work for you. And it's one of the most liberating things you can have for yourself. It's like a strict teacher, he barely compliments you, you need to work hard. But when you get compliment from such a strict teacher, you feel like you want to jump, you want to jump to the sky because you feel you really earn it. When somebody constantly compliment you, constantly give you break here and here, you can grow with that. I'm not saying we don't need compliments. Absolutely, especially our children. All of us, we are children, and we need to compliment each other. But the compliments needs to come from right place, right time, and it's need to really benefit. It's need to be authentic. It's need to be truthful. And this is what Saturn about. Saturn is extremely, extremely important. And you can imagine it goes retrograde each year around 140 days. So this is why we need to be prepared for this process, right? And if, for example, you have a Saturn in your third, sixth, and 10th house, and 11th house, it's actually really good houses to have Saturn. And again, it really depends what sign you have. This is why I recommend for you definitely, especially this year when we enter into this new zone of Aquarius with the Saturn, and by 2025 we're going to feel, then we didn't live a couple years, we're going to feel it's like another century pass. It's going to be a lot of transformation in technology. It's going to be a lot of transformation in our global communities. A lot of communities will be joined with each other. Some communities going to be separate from each other. A lot of changes going to come in these 2.5 years, more changes than we ever experienced in humanity, because we're already in a time where the time, space, and motion really not exist. Our time, the quality of the time really, really change. If you feel before 24 hours, you can do so much, you can accomplish. Now you wake up in the morning, you did a couple of things, it's end of the day. Why? What Kabbalists explain? The quality of the 24 hours we have right now can be considered to 13 hours. So what it's mean? We live in a time, the time exists only in this dimension, which is called Malchut. In the upper level, there's no time, space, and motion. So our time here is called lineage time. It's like a line, and now it's shortened more and more. Therefore, the cause and effect between our action and what we're getting back, it's really, really shrinking now. And why it's important for us to remember why it's shrinking now? Because we no longer have much time, so to say, mercy, in order for us to fix things we made. So this is why, when we have technology right now, when we can text message each other in instant second, if you feel something, you texting, and you can, God forbid, kill a person emotionally with your text message, or elevate him, and for the matter. If before our grandparents, when there's any dispute or any communication, they send letter to each other, the horse will take a couple of months to reach to another person. The person already even forget what they dispute about. Now everything happen every second. This is why our consciousness, our elevator consciousness, our spirituality right now important more than ever. And we need to become more responsible for everything. But most importantly, we need to be responsible for our thoughts. We need to understand when action happens, it's already too late. Our tikkun, our correction, we all came with certain job we need to finish and we need to overcome. We have our ancestor lineage which attach to our process. But what's really, really major right now for us to understand, if before our ancestors and even ourselves, we could have a time to fix certain things. Right now, there's really none almost left. So therefore, anything we say now, we think, our thoughts, it's more important than actually what we even saying and doing. Because if you already think certain way, you already sent energetical force to cosmic energy, and you create a ball of energy, you create separate universe, which is need to return here and to show you what is your thoughts causing. So this is why it's not enough just to show you change in a physical level, or you're trying to impress someone, or even yourself. It's good to restrict, and they say fake it until you make it. But we get into the time, then fake it until you make it not gonna work anymore. We really need to come back to our essence and to understand why I think certain way, why I feel and care for myself before I care for others, before I care for my community. And anything, when you really elevating yourself, anything you touch, anything you give your eye on it, it's receiving your energy. This is how responsible we have to be, guys. I want to finish this video and leave us with a few thoughts. We need to understand where we came from, because without Kabbalists, and my teacher Ralph Burke always said, in order for us to understand our process and to help ourselves, because we ourselves need to know how to help ourselves, we need to understand where we came from. And we really, all of us came from really, really high place. We came from the place of no limitation, place of total care. But here in this dimension, we've been given certain layers in order for us to earn the light of Creator. And every time, any action we do, the way how we communicate, we need right away to think before we say as well, and think where it's going to end up. What I'm saying right now is this is going to elevate the process, it's going to create peace, or it's just going to create separation between people. And again, I'm not saying not to confront, not to speak up. It's extremely important, but even that, we need to learn how to do it, because it's really important when you leave, what you leave behind you, what kind of outcome. We not longer can afford to behave, to think, and to be selfish the way how we used to. And no matter how much we know, we can know so much, but still in our behavior, in our thought level, we're still not really even closer to the information we have, because information can stay information, but when information convert to wisdom, then it's completely different, different ball of games. So we need to remember that. I want to wish you guys many, many blessings. I am personally really, really excited about this new time we're entering. This year is going to be extremely important for us to face ourselves on different level. And I'm looking forward to interact with you in my next video. All the best. Bye-bye.